let's talk about a problem that so many startups run into. It's that feeling when you hit a wall, a growth ceiling. You know, you're doing things right, you're making sales, but you just can't seem to get to that next level. Well, the reason why is probably not what you think.
So where does it all go wrong? It usually starts with this one, very common and very expensive mistake that most founders don't even realize they're making until it's way too late. Let me walk you through a story that just nails this point perfectly. I was talking with a startup founder recently, and on the surface, everything looked pretty good. But as we started to dig in, this really dangerous hidden problem started to come to light. So you look at their numbers, and yep, money is coming in. They've got customers, they're closing deals. From the outside looking in, you'd think, hey, these guys are doing great. And this wasn't just some lucky fluke either. They had real market traction. People were using their product. They had a solid foothold in their industry. All the signals looked good. But there was a catch.
For 2 full years, those sales numbers had been completely flat. 2 years. I mean, in the startup world, that is an eternity. They were totally and completely stuck.
And this right here is the real danger zone. They weren't crashing and burning, which is almost worse, right? Because there's no big, obvious fire you have to put out. But they weren't growing either. They were just there, treading water. So after a really deep conversation with the founder, we finally diagnosed the root cause. And it wasn't the product, it wasn't the sales team, it wasn't even the market. The entire problem, it all stemmed from a fundamental confusion between 2 words, branding and marketing. So how does a simple confusion like that actually grind a company to a halt? Well, it shows up in the very formula most businesses are built on. It's a formula that feels right, but it's dangerously incomplete. Now, this should look pretty familiar to a lot of you. Step 1, build a great product. Step 2, market that product. Step 3, sell it. Simple, direct, it's the path almost every company follows. And look, this formula absolutely works, to a point. It will get you those initial sales. But, and this is the huge but, it doesn't create scale. It doesn't build a real foundation for that kind of exponential lasting growth, because there is a critical ingredient missing. So, what is that missing piece? What's the one thing that can take a business from just surviving to truly scaling? Well, let's talk about what branding really is. Here we go. This is the complete formula. We've added one crucial step, branding. And I want you to notice its position very carefully. It comes after you have a product, but before you even think about marketing and sales. That placement changes everything. Okay, this slide is so important because when most people hear the word branding, their mind immediately jumps to everything on the left, the logo, the colors, the cool packaging. But those things are not the brand. The brand, the real brand, is everything on the right. It's your story. It's the values you stand for. It's the answer to the question, what do we want to be remembered for? It's that specific piece of real estate you want to own inside your customer's mind. Exactly. Your logo, your colors. Think of them as just the outputs. They're the artifacts that express the brand, but they are not the brand itself. The real work, the deep work, happens long before a single color is ever picked. So if you remember one thing, remember this. Branding is internal. It's the strategy. It's about defining your identity, your promise, your story. Then, and only then, does marketing come in to take that clear identity and translate it for the world through ads and content and campaigns. You can't translate something that hasn't been defined first. So how does getting this right actually help you grow? Well, the effect isn't just some small little boost. It is totally transformative. It's literally the difference between growth that happens by accident and growth that happens on purpose. You see, when your brand is crystal clear, your marketing team finally has a North Star. Every ad, every post, every email suddenly has a clear direction. Your tone of voice is consistent everywhere. Your messages stop being about just listing features and start delivering an actual feeling. And maybe most importantly, your growth stops being a matter of luck and becomes a deliberate strategic plan. And this is really the ultimate takeaway, isn't it? Your marketing team's job shouldn't be to just sell one product today. Its real long-term job is to sell the brand. Because when people buy into your brand, they don't just become customers, they become advocates. All right, so all of this brings us to the final and most important question. It's time to turn this lens away from that other startup and point it right back at whatever you're working on. As we look ahead into an even more crowded and noisy market, just having a good product is not going to be enough. It's not the golden ticket anymore. Every single founder, every creator, every leader needs to be asking themselves one really fundamental question.
Seriously, think about it. Are you selling a collection of features and functions, or are you selling a story, a feeling, a point of view? The answer to that question will probably determine whether you stay stuck or if you finally start to scale.